Hey guys, I'm Leni. This is my channel about cross stitch and I'm so happy you're here. This is my first video in English. I'm German, so if I make any mistakes, please excuse that. I already have some videos up. They are in German, but you can watch them in German with English subtitles if you'd like. This is going to be a WIP and finish parade, so I'll show you everything I've worked on in 2023 and everything I've finished this year. I started to cross stitch in 9th grade, about 9th grade. We had a club at school where we were taught how to cross stitch, but I really liked it, but I kind of grew out of it. And then during the pandemic I was browsing on Etsy and saw a kit I liked. It was a turtle, I think. I don't have that whip anymore or that finish. And then I just fell in love with cross stitch again. And I've been stitching ever since. I made an Instagram account this year, I think in April maybe. So maybe you already follow me on there. I have the same username, the Stitchy Veg. And then a few months ago I uploaded my first Flosstube in German. And now this is my first video in English. So settle in, maybe get a cup of tea or coffee and yeah, enjoy. So let's start with fully finished objects. I only have 2 of those. I have my tablet down here. The first thing I finished was a Biscuit Moo, and I actually don't have it here with me right now. It's packed somewhere in a box. I finished that on April 20th, and this is what it looks like. So I got married in May, on May 15th, and I wanted to do a ring pillow. So I got this design from X-Stitch Little Stories on Etsy. It's stitched up really fast. I just used some vintage country mocha, 25 count, and some white anchor floss, I believe. And then to finish the Biscuit Moo, I just used some lace from my wedding dress actually. So when I got my wedding dress fitted, they had some lace left over and gave that to me. And so I used that for the ribbons to attach our rings. And I also used a button from my husband's vest for the bottom. And yeah, we used that in our wedding. We eloped in Vegas, and it was nice to have something I made myself, and I'm really proud of that finish. It's really meaningful to me, especially because I used something that we wore on our wedding day. And yeah, that's my first fully finished object. The second fully finished object, let's see, I think I still have the package. Yeah, it was a Mill Hill kit, this one. It's called Sleigh Ride. I think Sleigh Ride is the series, and this ornament is called Evergreen Sleigh. And here's what it looks like. So I did everything with the called for floss on the perforated paper. It came with this little charm, and I did a beaded hanger with leftover beads. And I finished this with some glittery paper. So what I first did actually was I glued some fabric on. It was like fake suede that matched the color of the paper, but I didn't really like that because it was too thin. So I then just glued on this glittery paper. The instructions said to stitch this with 3 strands of floss, but I only used 2, and I think it looks really nice. I picked this as my first middle kit because the dog kind of looks like our dog, Lola. I'll insert a picture for you. We adopted her this year. She's a rescue from Hungary. And I wanted to have a little reminder on our tree so we can always remember the year that we got her. This was my first time beading and it was really fun. Yeah, I'm looking forward to do more of these. I already bought some more. And I actually have a third fully finished object which isn't cross stitch. It's English paper piecing. This summer I tried out English paper piecing for the first time and I made this little zipper pouch. I added some cross stitch on there and it has just white lining. I don't own a sewing machine, so I did everything by hand. I sewed the back, inserted the lining and sewed in the zipper, which was a lot of work and it was really hard and that's why this looks so wonky, but I really like it. And I already have a second English paper piecing project planned. I want to do the same bag basically but bigger so I can use it as a project bag. I think I will not sew that by hand though. I will just borrow a sewing machine. Yeah, that's that. So now I have 4 more finishes to show you. Let's start with the one I finished first. And my biggest finish I ever had. Here she is. I'm so obsessed with her. So this is Mini Contessa with Squid by Heaven and Earth Designs. I think the first place I saw this was by Shelby. She's called, I don't remember her YouTube channel right now, but I will link everyone I mentioned down below. She's also working on this and I fell in love with this artwork. She's so cool. So I stitched this on 25 count, easy count, and I started her, let's see, I don't have it written down right now, but I think I started her in March 2022 and I finished her on July 11th. So she took me a little over a year to stitch. At the time I was working on her, I was stitching pretty much monogamously. So I finished her fairly quickly. Sorry, this is bothering me. Here's the back if you're interested. This was my first full coverage piece and it was so much fun to stitch. I actually stitched this extreme cross country, so I started with the color that had the most stitches, which was, I think, this dark brown up here, and I finished that throughout the whole piece and then just went color by color, which was really fun. I stitched this with CXC floss, which provided pretty much perfect coverage. It was almost a little too thick in some places, so this little fish here has so much confetti and I almost couldn't get my needle through at the end. Here's that fish from the back. So you can see there's a lot of confetti. But otherwise, this was fine to stitch. It had some confetti, mainly in the tentacles, but otherwise also had a lot of block stitching, and this was the perfect first full coverage project for me. I want to get like one of those antique gold frames, I think, and I really want to frame her next year because I want her up on my walls. The next thing I finished was a project from Modern Folk Embroidery, which is one of my favorite designers right now. Let's see. I started this on the 15th of October this year. And I finished it on November 22nd. So this was a really fast one, about a month only. And it's the Biscuit Moo. I love it so much. This is stitched on a hand-dyed fabric by Leah Revenga. I will also link her down below. She has a Flosstube and an Etsy shop. This is 36 count Edinburgh in the colorway Blackberry Potion. And I stitched this with one strand over 2 with the DMC color 550. This design calls for a second color to fill out the windmill. I think Jacob used white or ecru, but I really loved how this looked on the fabric, so I just stitched with one color and left the second color out. And I also really want to get this framed. I think this will need a custom frame because it has kind of a weird size. So I need to look into that. I also added my initials and the year I stitched this. So I added a little 23 here, and those are my initials. Yeah, that's Biscuit Moo by Modern Folk Embroidery. The next two finishes are also kind of inspired by Leah Revenga. She has this challenge she does, which is called Stitch Finale. It also has a hashtag on Instagram, so I'll put this here. So it basically means that you touch every one of your WIPs in December and stitch a little bit on them, which was so helpful for me because if you go back to my very first video, I had quite a few WIPs that I just didn't feel like working on anymore. I wasn't happy with how they looked, I wasn't happy with the fabric, I just wasn't having fun anymore. But then I heard of Stitch Finale and I started working on these two projects, even though I didn't want to, but then I noticed that they are almost finished. So I just finished them. The first one is also by Modern Folk Embroidery. It's the Moonshine Cabin, which I saw on Shiloh's channel, Big Stitch MD. And it looks like this. I stitched this on the called for fabric, which I think was a 32 count Zweigart. I think the colorway is called Midnight Blue. Called for floss 2/2. And as you can see, I don't know how this happened, but I barely have any margin left at the top, which is partly why I stopped stitching on this, because I was so frustrated. I also hate this fabric. Like, this is the worst fabric I've ever stitched on, just because of the color. It's so hard to see. And I also don't enjoy stitching with 2 strands anymore. I much prefer stitching with 1 strand. But this was almost finished when I picked it up. So I just pushed through and finished it. Let me check the stats for you. This was one of my oldest WIPs. I started this in January 2022 and finished this on December 7th this year. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I want to finish this in a hoop, definitely. I hope I can make this work with the margin. Maybe I will need to sew some extra fabric on here. Yeah, but I really love it. It's so cute. And my last finish, which I kind of call my cursed project. This is my Harry Potter sampler, which I got from Lena Over on Kreuzstich. I think she's a Russian designer and she isn't on Etsy anymore, but she has a website and I will link that down below, because she has a lot of nice designs. She also has some Alice in Wonderland ones, Narnia, Lord of the Rings, stuff like that. So this was my oldest WIP. I started this on September 15th, 2021. And it's finally finished. This was my first big project I started. I think I started this immediately after I finished that first kit. Yeah, this is 18 count Vintage Country Mocha by Zweigart, and I'm stitching with 2 strands over 1. I picked the colors out myself. This is meant to be monochromatic, but I wanted to have each square represent one of the Hogwarts houses. And the reason I stopped stitching on this is that I don't like the colors anymore. I think I picked colors that are too bright. Yeah, but now it's finished. So when I picked this back up, the only thing I had left to do was these leaves up here, and then I had to do the 4 corners of this square. This piece is also meant to have a border that goes all around the piece, which I started the border and I have to frog that. Yeah, I just don't want to have this huge border on here. I think I also don't want this up on my wall. It's too big and I don't like the colors. A friend of mine had the idea to just tea dye this with the stitching on it, and I'm definitely going to try that, because then the fabric will get darker and maybe the colors will also get a little more dull. And then I think I'm going to finish this into a throw pillow or something like that. Yeah, that was the Harry Potter sampler. So now let's talk about WIPs. I have 4 WIPs to show you. So 4 WIPs is a lot for me, because I started stitching monogamously and then I added a few more projects, but I can't have too many WIPs because when I stitch on something, or when I don't stitch on something for a long time, I don't want to pick it up ever again. So the solution for me is to not have too many WIPs and to try to stitch on everything once in a while. So I think this is my oldest WIP now. This is actually a kit I got from All Forced Embroidery. They are located in Russia, and I think I also started this in 2021. These are the flosses. The floss came on bobbins and I just punched a hole and used them as floss drops. This project is called The 100 Owls, which is a free pattern, so you can still get this for free. And this is what it looks like so far, and I also insert a picture on what it will look like when it's finished. So obviously it's supposed to be 100 owls on here. I'm almost 50% complete. I think I have 45 owls when I last counted them. So yeah, this is the called for floss. This is a 32 count fabric, so I'm stitching 2/2, which is also the reason that I don't love stitching on this. It's so beautiful. I want this up on my wall ASAP, but I just don't enjoy stitching with 2 threads. I also use this as a paper chart. This was a stitch along, so the chart came broken up into little pieces like this. So when I stitch, I just attach this to my hoop, and then it's fairly easy to work with the paper pattern, but I'd rather use Pattern Keeper, to be honest. This also has a lot of color changes. These owls are so tiny, but each owl has like 5 colors. So this isn't much fun to stitch on, but I still love it. I need to work on this more because it looks so beautiful. Okay, let's see. My second oldest WIP is my full coverage WIP. So I have this on a scroll frame. This is Fly Me to the Moon, which is artwork by Josephine Wall. I will add the artwork in here. This is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. This is the full-size chart, but I love this design, but it was huge. This has, how many stitches does this have? So what I did was I cropped this myself. So I uploaded it into Pattern Keeper. I deleted a whole row of pages from the bottom, I think. I deleted a whole row of pages on this side, because you know that was just clouds and sky and parts of her dress, and that was kind of unnecessary for me. I knew I couldn't finish something so big, so I just cropped it. I wanted to leave the beautiful wings in, of course, and I also really want to leave in the moon, because the moon is the most beautiful part of this for me. This does now have 185,000 stitches. 185,000 464. Sorry, that was a hard one. So I also have some rolled up here. I have 3 full pages finished so far, and I'm working on the 4th one. I just stitch this page per page. I do color completion on the page, and I also feather the stitches out a little bit so I won't get page lines. If there's a stitch in here, for example, that is only 1 stitch of that color, I will leave that blank, and then when I have, I don't know, maybe 6 or 9 pages done, I will go in and fill in all the confetti. So that's why these are finished for now, but there's still some spaces left. I have all the floss here. It's about 100 colors, and the color palette is really beautiful. I love stitching on this. I will insert a picture here of the full design and of my cropped version. So that was Fly Me to the Moon. I started this on June 23rd this year, and this is 14.85% done, so still a lot to go. My next WIP is a project. Oh, and by the way, if you're also stitching on Fly Me to the Moon, definitely let me know, because I don't think I've seen anyone stitch on this on Flosstube or on Instagram. It doesn't seem to be very popular. So next up is Elegant Lace, which will look like this when it's finished. The first time I saw this project was on Imogen's channel. I think the channel is called Imogen X Stitch. I will also link them down below. They finished this on a dark green fabric and used black floss, and it's so beautiful. Definitely check out their channel and their Instagram. They haven't uploaded a video in a while, but you can definitely go back and binge all the videos. Highly recommend. So this is my Elegant Lace. This is a pattern from Works by ABC. I started this on September 18th this year, and this is about 36% done. So what's so special about this design is the lace effect. You use full stitches and you also use half stitches. This design calls for DMC Floge, which is a DMC floss that comes on hanks. DMC Floge isn't available in Europe, even though, you know, DMC is based in France. So I don't know what's up with that. But what I'm using for the full stitches, I'm using Sulky Floss. Let me know if you want the color number, because I kind of broke this spool, and so I don't have the color number anymore, but I can look it up for you. This is a very light pink. This is a 22 count fabric that I also got from Leah Revenga. The colorway is called Light Wine, I believe. And this is so beautiful to stitch on. It's very soft. It's easy to see. I love it. So I'm using this, which is definitely inspired by Cameron, Cam the Stitcher on YouTube, because she did some beautiful pink on pink conversions. This reads more like white on this fabric, but it's less harsh than white. And then for the half crosses, I'm just using a regular sewing thread. So this is from Gütermann. It's just white polyester sewing thread. But it's really nice to stitch with. And together with the sulky, it has a really nice effect. Yeah, I love this WIP. It's going to be so pretty. And then up next, yeah, this is my last WIP actually. So up next, this is a small full coverage design which I got from Fancy Foxglove on Etsy. I started this on November 11th this year, and this is about 35% done. This is inspired by the video game Stardew Valley. The design is called Autumn in the Valley. They have one for each season up in the shop, and I definitely want to stitch them all. It's so cute. I also have all the colors here. So this is a small design, but it uses 50 or 60 colors, so quite a lot. But it's really worth it because it has so many cute details like the chickens. We will have some pumpkins over here. It also has a dog. The dog is charted in brown, but I've done a conversion and I will do a white dog to look like Lola. And I'm also trying out diagonal parking for the first time, and I really enjoy that. This is 25 count easy count. I'm stitching 1/1, and this is CXC floss also. This is a CXC floss that I got from Lea Revenga. She has found a supplier for CXC floss that has really nice quality. The CXC floss I used for mini Contesta with squid, I got that from, what are they called? It's a British shop and they are called, I don't remember, Cross and Crafts. I was really happy with the floss at the time. I really liked their service, so nothing against them, but normally CXC floss is thicker than DMC, so especially if you're stitching 1/1 on 25 count, it can get too tight. So Lea has found a supplier that has really nice CXC floss. It's thinner than the regular one, and it's also a really nice color match in my opinion. I have perfect coverage on this, but it's not tight at all. Like even in confetti areas, I can still easily stitch with this. I would say it's almost the same thickness as DMC. I'm really happy with that. I definitely want to finish this next year and start another one of the series, and then I want to have them all up on my wall because they are so cute. The last thing I want to show you is not a WIP yet, but it will be a WIP tomorrow. It's the Modern Folk Embroidery Stitch Along 2024, No Time Like the Present. And I already have everything prepped because I want to start this on New Year's Eve. So I picked out this fabric. This is a Zweigart 36 count and the colorway is, I don't remember what it's called. I bought this at the Zweigart factory store, and they sell fabric on these big balls, and you can buy exactly the size you need. And I don't think it said what the color is called, but this is printed like vintage country mocha, but it's an off-white fabric that has these kind of warm toned splotches on there. And the floss I picked out are these two colors. So I picked out a nice blue and a nice kind of gold color. The blue is DMC 930 and the gold is 612. I think this will look really nice. So as far as golds go for 2024, I definitely want to keep up with the stitch along. And you know, that's a lot of stitches. I think it's over 3,000 stitches in a month, which is, yeah, it's a reasonable amount. And I would also really like to finish Elegant Lace next year, because I have another project kitted up, which is the Rose Quaker. I saw Megan stitching on that, Megan the Seattle Stitcher, and it's so pretty. Let me see. Yeah, I will just insert the picture. I have already fully kitted it up, but I don't want to have more whips, so I will start that when I finish Elegant Lace. So my plans for next year are finish Elegant Lace, keep up with the Modern Folk embroidery stitch along, finish a few more pages of Fly Me to the Moon. I also want to finish Autumn in the Valley and start probably spring or winter of the series. And I would also really like to start my first Mirabilia next year. Mirabilia or Nora Corbett, I don't know yet. I also have a few more kits from Mill Hill. My birthday is in January, and I really want to do a birthday start. And I will either start the Beehive House or the Mushroom House from the Garden Gnomes collection. Yeah, they are so cute. And maybe for Christmas in July I will start this Evergreen Gnome I have, because he's also so cute. The little birds. Yeah, so those are my plans. I'm not too strict with my plans, because I know that if I set too many goals for myself, I will lose the fun with stitching. I just want to keep working on my whips. I don't have any goals for the 100 owls. I will just try to stitch on those a little bit, but I will not push to finish these next year. I hope you enjoyed seeing all my whips and finishes. Let me know what you are stitching on right now. I think I want to do more English floss tubes, but I don't think it's possible for me to film every video I do in English and German. I was thinking about maybe doing a WIP-Parade and a mid-year WIP-Parade each year in English, and the rest of my videos in German with English subtitles. Let me know what you think of that, if you would also watch my German videos with subtitles, or if you think I should do English videos as well each month. Yeah, definitely let me know. So if you like this video, I would be very happy if you gave me a like or maybe even subscribe to my channel. Let me know any suggestions or questions in the comments down below. I hope you have a nice start to the new year, and I hope you had fun stitching with me. Bye!